Holy dispatch dogs, we are live. Welcome to the Chain Dogs podcast, where we talk about everything from the amusement industry all around the world. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you are listening to this on podcast, then just to let you know that we do this live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. over on the Chain Dogs YouTube channel. So come and join us, get involved in the chat. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining us in the chat. How are we doing, guys? You can unmute if you're not. There you go.
I'm taking credit for that intro, by the way. That was my idea.
Whoa, you threw that one in there.
Yeah, you said that last week, and I was like, I'm definitely using that.
That was all my idea.
Oh, you did.
Such a modest man, McCall.
Yeah.
Always. That's my MO.
So, yes, we are joined by the man. The myth.
The
man.
It's not a myth. It's not a myth.
He's right
No,
here.
not a myth,
It's
really.
right here.
No, sad.
Well, we've got
Hello.
Harry from Coasterbot. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. It's a pleasure to be here, as always. Thoroughly enjoy talking to you all, talking about roller coasters.
Yeah, man.
It's always a great time.
We'll see after this debate in a bit.
Chain dogs explained. Check Andrew in the chat.
See if we ever want to invite you on again.
Well, this is true. When I
We'll see if he ever wants to come back again. You're what? Your facts and logic. Oh, we'll
Facts
see.
and logic.
Facts and logic.
Yes. But no, thanks so much, Harry, for coming on. You are officially our second ever guest on the podcast,
Oh,
which doesn't really mean much because, I mean, maybe if it was the first guest, but I just thought it was a cool thing to say. So there you go.
wow,
well
there you
done.
go. Very cool.
We'll give you a badge for being second.
Thank you. Yeah, I look forward to that. I'll expect it in the post in the next few days.
Three to 5 working days.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I pack them all myself, like you do with your merch.
Yeah.
all myself. Quality control. Make sure it's
Good.
well done.
Good stuff.
Quality
That's what I like to
merch,
hear.
mate. Quality merch.
Quality merch. Yeah.
Look at
Mm,
I know.
yeah, there
Got
you go.
some. I got loads of them.
that. Do you want
Please
some
buy 'em.
Yeah. I got too many. Please just get rid of them.
Get them out of my house.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But anyway, we've got an action-packed show. So obviously, as the title suggests, we're going to be talking about a topic that Mikhail come up with literally yesterday. So
I'm
do you want
modest on this one.
Yeah, I mean, when we get to it, you can explain it better. Like, I wouldn't say there's any rules, but yeah, you're going to explain a little bit better. But we're
Yeah,
basically going to be
that's
picking the what we all think is possibly what was the best decade for coasters,
Mhm.
for roller coasters. So that's going to be interesting. But we've got loads of news to go through. So we'll start off with some really quick ones, which is Spinjam. One of the retro squad that has replaced a mixtape in X Sector is now open at Alton Towers, which is a Tivoli Extreme. Is that right? Tivoli Extreme, yeah.
Yes.
I guess
I
by silence
have
that means
no
yes
idea.
or we don't
You've
know.
got all the facts, mate. You've got all the facts.
Yeah.
I did say yes.
Yeah, so Tivoli Extreme, which normally, like, I didn't really know what the model was, but I know it when I see it when I go to the fair because it's normally the most intense one there, which was surprising when I first saw it. I haven't been on it yet at Alton Towers, but I was pretty surprised at having that intense flat ride at Alton
It
Towers.
looks nuts. It looks
Yeah.
nuts.
It does look
I
nuts.
believe
agree.
we were talking in our Discord the other day, and I believe Dave said, James, didn't he, that there's a 6-arm one, and Spinjam is a
Yes.
4-arm version of it. But
Mm.
like, it just looks absolutely rapid. It looks insane, honestly.
When
it looks great.
Did it open this past weekend? I'm out of the loop. With this
Yeah,
one.
I think
Yeah,
so.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, opened on
Yeah.
Saturday. Yeah.
Right.
I'm loving the divide on it.
Yeah, I know.
In
Spinjam
the
is
chat.
horrible. Spinjam is amazing.
Spinjam is
bad.
It sounds like Marcus and Dan went on the same ride of
Yeah.
Spinjam.
I could probably make an educated guess towards that, but yeah. But yeah,
It just
I-
kind of looks like Roller Coaster Tycoon. Spinjam is too intense.
The thing is, if you want to try that style of ride, it's perfect to do at towers because it's going to be like a short cycle compared to the fair. If you go to a fair, I've been on one of them things where it's been going on for like 10 minutes. I'm not even kidding. If they just keep you on it, and you're like, can you just end it now?
End.
Yeah. But sorry, I'm just going to quickly shout out some people in the chat. Let's see, we got Alison. How you doing? We've got Carl. How are you doing? Can't wait to get on it. He's saying, Rave Tech.
I know you can't wait to get on it, Carl. You can never wait.
We've got Hearts and Pints in the house. We got Matt saying, last time I did one, it finished my day. Yeah, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful, man. Like, fun can fly. Like, did mad things to me when I went on it. And Joe loves it, but I was like, it's making me feel motion. I
felt sick as well. It's horrible.
I can't do them rides, man.
I was having to look on I was having to focus on the gondola straight in front of me to stop myself like feeling really sick. But yeah, Joe absolutely loves that. Emma's saying I've done it before at a fair. It's mad. We got Ainsworth in the house. They are running it full speed, which is brilliant, but it's defo a shorter sequence. Yeah, which is to be expected.
Yeah, a lot of people saying like the blood rushes to your feet. You get like crazy pins and needles after you come off it and stuff.
You just try and get up and you just go.
I mean, if you want a ride that makes a blood rush to your feet, just go on a time machine at Adventure Island.
Oh, mate.
Jesus.
That looks disgusting.
It's ridiculous.
No, that's another level of just death. No.
Yeah.
No.
I can't walk if I go on that ride afterwards. I'm like, where am I?
Yeah, let's
me about that.
I did say this was going to be a short segment, but let's just talk about this. What Daniel was saying. Like, I forgot about this, but yeah, they're actually playing.
The ropers must be like, oh man, on that phone, like constantly. He's doing it again.
I don't mind these temporary flat rides at Alton Towers. It feels like a necessary hole in the park and the offering.
I agree,
but it's too much, man. I don't want to be hearing that like at Alton Towers.
Well, would you rather hear the air horns? I've heard
it. They're playing everything. They're not just playing the Scream if you want to go faster.
Is it Ray Bonds and Phoenix Nights?
Oh, they're playing. Are they playing all the audio as if it's legit at some traveling?
So they've got the typical Retro Squad kind of playlist they're playing.
Yeah,
but then in between it, like they're literally playing out them like the foghorn things and stuff. But it's not it's not some guy in the booth. It's like the pre-recorded ones they do now. Like a lot of the fairs now, they're all pre-recorded and they just press like a button probably and it sounds out. But I'm just like, no, like I'm hoping that was just like I'm hoping that was a first day thing, because I know that the ride hosts are Alton Towers staff, but I believe that the operators are people who are, who own the ride sort of thing, or from the company. Who is it again? I can't remember what company they're from. They're hired from, but
mate, they're from outer space. I don't know what you're on about.
Of course, they're from Cybertron.
I'm still waiting for Blast Wave. Blast Wave sounds like
it can't be as bad as when we went to Towers and someone on Roller Disco just started playing their Spotify playlist. But the funniest thing was they hadn't even paid for Spotify Premium.
So they got all the ads in it.
That's incredible.
Green.
That's amazing.
That was just insane. I'm like, who?
That's amazing. That is so funny. My God, just imagine that.
But I think that
from Spotify.
I think that sort of stuff is like kind of just because they're not used to they're not Alton Towers staff, so they're coming in. They're like, well, this is what I normally do, so I'll just do that.
Question.
And then,
here's a question: is it a button? Is it a button they're pressing? If it is, fucking take it off them. Like just cover it in like. You know, like you have two keys to operate like a button, just have two keys and you have to go in at the same time, lift the hatch for the button, just lock it down, and then throw away the keys. Don't let
I
them use
believe they are now buttons. It's basically like a launch pad that just has all the different sound
It's
effects.
a
that I can play.
soundboard.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Andrew said flashbacks to the vlog where Harry did 7 minutes of.
That's what I was
breakdance.
thinking. My neck for about 2 weeks after that was genuinely hurting. It was horrendous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not good.
7 minutes on a breakdown.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
I like fairs, right? But like typically, like the type of rides I don't like tend to be at fairs, like just spinny things or things that just like hurt you, or hurt me.
That's all they got.
Um,
They just got things that hurt you. That's the whole point.
It's
Evidently,
it's not-
Marcus had a traumatic experience on it. I can't believe I missed submission.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Submission's
Wow.
not good.
Yeah, wow.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, that is. I mean, I missed
says a lot.
catching the change as it fell out of people's pockets.
Yeah, I missed the sound of it. Yeah, the
Yeah.
sound of the change.
Ooh, £2. Thank you. Then.
But yeah, anyway, let's move on from Spinjam. That's enough about that. We've got loads of stuff to cover. Right, so Flamingo Land finally acknowledged they have a new coaster built in plain sight.
Flamingo Land
of
are
the
getting
whole-
a new
Sean,
coaster?
we are just upsetting
What?
Marcus this whole podcast. Like,
Yeah.
all right, let's get the
Um,
facts. Marcus, did they ask for permission to use that
Oh,
photo
yeah.
of the photo of
Did
the
they
roller coaster that isn't
There's no
the
way.
color that you took that they shared to use for their promotion? Like, it's not that color anymore. So technically, it's not even that coaster anymore.
Yeah.
My
That was
God.
that was the first thing I said. Like when they posted that, I was like, why that photo is not red anymore? Why not just get why
least
not just get one with a
Photoshop
new
it, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, hop on Photoshop, just change the colour.
Yeah.
No problem. Easy job.
Flamingo Land. What is Photoshop?
I mean, you give them a bit too much credit here, considering. I mean, let me just share this. The post before this was literally a video like.
Oh, God.
Oh.
There wasn't a
This
test.
is no slight on the guy in the video, by the way, just throwing that out.
No. And to be
Doesn't
fair,
help.
I know what they've done. They've probably just put it through like social media platform
Ah.
thing that probably just posts out to like
Yeah.
multiple
Here we
different
go.
things, and it's just
Yeah, there you
They
go, I
asked
said it.
for permission with credit. I said yes. They didn't credit me.
Very
From
true.
Pro Riders.
Oh my God.
Ah,
My
that's so
day.
bad.
Send them an invoice,
it.
Marcus.
Yeah.
Just let us know, Marcus. Is it worse that they don't credit you, or they credit you to the other thrill riders that everyone like everyone always does at thrill riders?
That's painful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh man, I feel so bad. I feel so bad for him. But-
Saying
No,
that,
to be fair-
saying that, Sean,
yeah.
you added the wrong Pro Riders.
When?
Yeah,
Or did you do that on
intentionally.
purpose?
He did it on
Okay.
purpose.
Oh no!
That was
Oh
the
no! I
joke.
did that. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, you did
Because-
do that on purpose.
Yeah, no, yeah, because like people were like I think Paul said, "Oh, is this your shot?" And I went, and
okay, yeah.
Marcus was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "No, actually, it's at Thrill Riders." And,
I thought you had screwed up there yourself.
no,
That would be funny.
that was the joke. But yeah, it's good that they've acknowledged it. You know,
it?
now they can move
Now?
on. And now
Yeah,
they
hopefully it
can,
means
you know,
it's opening soon.
yeah. Again,
They,
like I
they
think I
basically
said-
tried to do a universal on us, didn't they? Just
no.
not
it-
acknowledging it until like
Till it's
there's like
ready.
2/3 through the construction.
Yeah.
No, except
Yeah.
except they were kind of memeing the whole situation and calling it a churro stand, whereas Flamingo Land are just like,
Oh yeah,
we've got a new-
no. Universal were doing it
we've
properly.
got a new coaster coming soon. That's literally what they did.
Intamin ride. All the parts have come from Germany.
Yeah.
It's like
But,
saying that video. Oh man.
I am mega excited about it. I've seen a lot of people saying like who cares and stuff and things, and I don't agree at all. I think Colossus
Think
Is a
Colossus
really good layout.
terrible?
it's a really good layout. It's a really good layout. I think if you ride it at the front, even if you're
At the front,
even-
it's interesting.
It's
bearable.
I really like it.
I think with
I
lap
can't
bars,
remember
it
what it
would be a nice ride.
Yeah.
Mm.
Lots decent hang time, I reckon, on the Heartline.
I think the only
Hmm.
thing that it's gonna, because I think what I love about Colossus is like the head chopper elements and like the fact like this again like the terrain really, and like you're going on
Yeah,
the
the
paths and
tunnel.
everything.
Mm.
And I think it's gonna miss that element to it really.
Yeah.
Which may may make me think differently. But yeah, it's like it's still even if it is, you know, a clone, it's still pretty major coaster. We're getting
Definitely.
basically a newer
Well,
version of Colossus. So
the path work that they've been doing over at the bottom end of the ride area, like the path
Does dip,
goes,
yeah.
it goes right underneath where the last roll goes upside down. So when you go through that roll, like when you're upside down, you're going to be right above people walking through that path, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
yeah.
cool.
I think if
I'm saying I love coasters that make me feel like I'm squatting for a poo when I sit on the train. It just feels like you're going. It kind of feels like you're in a portaloo actually, because how like kind of little it is and stuff, and it's a big old step to get in. But yeah,
Colossus is you hit your head getting into the ride because of the restraints.
Yeah,
And
you
half the
you
time
can't
people
get
push
through.
them about halfway up. They then lock them before you get on, so you can't actually even bring it up any further. And then you hit your head all the way through the ride as well.
They should just fly up automatically, so they stay up.
I don't.
Like,
I don't find it. I don't even find it that rough. Like I get the hate for it being like uncomfortable seats and stuff, but I just don't find it rough at all. I've had worse rides in store.
The sort of like attractive draw of this part of this ride for Flamingo Land is that obviously comparatively speaking, it's a much smaller park than like ride wise than Thorpe is. Obviously Thorpe have sort of you know Colossus open in 2002 or something like that, and obviously they've got other rides that are much better than, in my opinion anyway, than Colossus. Yeah. But like for Flamingo Land, you know, they've got Kamali at the back of the park, they've got Velocity. Like this, by just like size of the ride area, its height, its speed, the fact that it does, you know, go upside down 10 times, like it's gonna be, compared to everything else in the park, it's going to be a staple for the park, and it's right at the front of the park as well. It's right at the entrance. It's going to be the first thing that you see when you know pull up in the car park. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be a nice visual to see as like, you know, as you start your day at Flamingo Land.
You know, so it's gonna be a
however much value that holds, then like it's.
I just want to know if it's gonna be better than Kamali, because I really like Kamali.
Dude, Kamali's dope.
Kamali's like awesome, man.
A good coaster.
Yeah, that's
Harry,
absolutely.
What do you think of Kamali, Harry?
Kamali's good. I don't really care about inverts. That's the problem.
Oh yeah, I always forget that. I always forget that you're not that.
You're genuinely enjoying Velocity more. So yeah, I think I'll like the tent loop. I think that'll be my favorite ride there. So
yeah,
but I think it'd be a lot of people's favorites.
Yeah, I think it's I don't know. It's a ride that you can't really hate with a lap bar. Surely, you know, with a better train on it, there's nothing to really hate about it.
Yeah.
And it's better profiled.
Seen a Sitter World, that seems to get a really good like review, and people seem to really enjoy that. Although the station theming is pretty nuts, but
you know, from the 7 people that talk about Sinister World.
Well, of course.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all there. A review's a review, man. Right. Like if it's lap bars, and I'm looking forward to that first drop on the back row. Actually,
yeah,
that's going to be pretty cool. I think
should be.
Yeah, it's just
nice.
It's just it's still a strange choice to me, because I always see what I liked about Flamingo Land when I first visited there was like they just had an odd selection of coasters. And I think they should have just
purpose. I don't think that was on purpose.
I don't think that was on purpose, but I think they should have gone like I think they should have just gone full on with it and just be like, we're just going to be the UK,
the weird
coaster collection.
Yeah,
that was it. They thought, oh, look at this roller coaster. It's only going for like a fraction of the original price.
Miscellaneous section in Roller Coaster Tycoon.
But
like,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. It was a big Hero was a pretty big draw to me to go there because it was so hated. I was like, I need to just try it, and I was like, I need to know what this coaster is about.
Terrible.
It's so bad.
What's so funny about that is I made sure that when me and Joe went, I made sure that we rode it like early in the day.
Yeah.
And
They don't make a difference.
Well, did that ruin all the other rides for you then? Did it?
Well, no, like it's so funny because it wasn't that bad for me, but I knew it was gonna get worse throughout the day. So I made sure.
The only bit that I like about that ride is when you go upside down. That's the only bit I like. The turns are brutal. The lift is brutal. The thing's brutal. The toast rack's brutal. But when you go upside down, it's actually quite nice. But
if you make sure you get it done early in your day there, and then just don't even look in its general direction for the rest of the day, like it's fine.
I think since I've done when I did Condor at Wallaby Holland, which is like the first SLC, like anything I've ever done since then is like not that rough.
I liked Condor. I really liked it. I did it on the back row. And it was absolutely
Shut
fine.
up, Harry. Like no one likes that ride.
This coming from the dude who don't like inverts.
It's not even the worst SLC I've ridden. Go over to Garland,
really
ride
is, man.
Blue Tornado. It's horrendous.
When did you do it? Did you do it recently?
2018. So a little while ago.
No, same. That would have been the same year as me. Then.
Wow.
Yeah, wasn't that bad? Don't know why.
That was the worst thing.
The SLC at Terra Mythica is not too bad either. I've ridden that.
Yeah, I've ridden that. That was okay.
Yeah, I've ridden that.
What is that called?
It's like yellow and red, isn't it? It's like the McDonald's ride. I don't know what the name of it is.
CDB.
Yeah, that's so.
Yeah,
I'm
looking now.
I can't remember.
It's so depressing that their Woody is just rotting in the back.
Oh, Colossus, man!
Titanite, Titanite.
Titanite. Yeah.
Titanite.
Yeah, Magnus Colossus. Been on that as well. I got absolutely stapled. Hated every living moment of it. My dad loved it, which really pissed me off because he got like a nice ride on it. And I was just like,
I like the bit where it did the bigger drop, like after pretty much 55% of the layout, and then it just went boom.
The layout does not pace very well at all.
No,
it's strange. It's cool to look at. Yeah.
The first hills are cool when you go down the mountain. That's cool. That's fun.
See, I never had the privilege of doing it.
Yeah,
no one's going to get the privilege of doing it anymore, are they?
RMC it.
Better than it was.
I was going to say that's something that could use RMCing.
That whole park's really underrated. I think like the theming in that park's amazing. Or the entranceway with the Egyptian bit and stuff. That's brilliant.
they've got some good theming going on, and I really
rapids
like the
underground. That's cool.
And I love the fact that they have there's quite a few theme parks that do this, but not enough. I don't think where they have like just proper sprayers in the queue. Like the water sprayers.
Yeah.
Just so, I'm like, why isn't Portaventura got them? Like, it's so ridiculous. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
God, this ride is so weird. I've never been to Terra Mythica, which is hilarious because I've been to Spain so many times.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people haven't been there. Like, I don't really see it get talked about. Like,
no, it never gets spoken about, does it?
I'm gonna go back there maybe next year. Just on a cheap holiday out to Benidorm, because the water park there is insane as well. Did you go to the water park?
Good. Yeah,
have you been to it?
I don't really do.
Yellow slides, huge. Yeah. Oh my god, massive.
I've been put off water parks since I went to Thailand, and nearly like, oh my god, I went on one of them. The vertical trap. The trap door.
Oh, the ones that the floor.
They're so good.
And I kind of like, I was like that. And then you meant to keep like that, and as soon as the trap door, like, it's just, I couldn't help but just like put my arms out because I'm falling, like, and it was like slow motion, and I kind of went like that, and then I saw the guy's face like that as I was going down, which made me like even more terrified. And then like I got like friction burns all on my palms, and it was so horrible. And I got off it, and I was like bleeding a little bit, and the woman just like squirted some. I don't know what the fuck she just like sprayed
pure chlorine, mate.
Yeah, I was like, this just happens so much that they've actually employed like that's
get the absinthe Jorge.
Like friction burns on you, but yeah. That was a good park. That was a good water park though. It was like Nickelodeon water park, and it had like Adventure Time
nice
slide.
What?
Which is amazing. Yeah, have a look at it. It's so funny. But anyway, sorry. I said these were the quick ones, and we're like gone so off track.
It's fine.
We've got a big old debate to get into, mate.
People expect this, but people should always smash like as well, because there's 27 people watching.
Yes,
like, come on, guys.
Like.
There you go.
Yeah. So we got I hate the trapdoor slides.
I've never
Yeah.
done one. They do look
Neither have I.
terrifying, but also fun.
Yeah, they look
I've
cool.
done one.
If we can keep an eye on the comments so we're not missing anything cool, and then I can pull them up if there's anything funny going on. Right, London Resort withdraws their DCO application. So obviously the DCO application is the development consent order, which means if they're given that order, it means that their project is given. It's like, what is it, nationally significant infrastructure project, which means you have less limitations, right?
Yeah.
And you can get away with just like a lot more. So yeah, they've withdrew it. They put it in a statement, well, a letter to the planners, whatever.
To attraction source.
Yeah. But they cited the transport thing going on and the site of significant interest that has been given recently as the reasons they're withdrawing it. Now they're still planning on going ahead with it. That's what they've said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is this ever going to get built?
The main areas of concern were the Tilbury port has changed itself to a free port rather than just a ferry port now. So they're not allowed to use that. So they're looking at moving that to Grays.
Yeah.
Which then means they have to change their road infrastructure changes that they were going to do that side of the river.
Because they were counted on that.
They have also had concerns from Department of Transport about just the general roads around the area. The SSI, they have bought out more land to offset what they would build, but then also need to have other mitigations put in place, which need to be outlined in the plans that they submit. There was another, which I can't remember.
See, at this point, it doesn't really matter if it doesn't get built because it's already improved.
It's already done its job.
Exactly. Look at
I did see
building a roller coaster.
I did see someone say, "Watch Merlin change their mind on all of their development."
Yeah, literally.
Exodus, no more.
Yeah,
Cancelled.
to spend this £20 million.
Do you know what?
Just a
boomerang.
Can't be asked anymore, guys.
Yeah.
What's your imagine?
And this is where we announce, guys, that we are actually the London Resort Planning Committee, and we've given you all this stuff.
It's the long con.
So yeah, but no, I
You're welcome.
At Chain Dogs in the thank you speech, Merlin. Please and thank you.
I've seen a lot of different comments about that this could easily work in their favor because they now know the objections. Like they've almost they know what the opposition are going to say now and what they've got to combat, which is what a lot of people when they're giving like a DCO, when they're putting an application in, they don't know what these are going to be, and it puts them on the back foot. But now because they know everything, that this might actually be better for them.
Yeah, they can go away and plan for that backlash, really, can't they? So
it really all comes down to what's going on behind the scenes. You know, how much is the UK government backing it? How much money is being invested in this? You know, we could have we could have money from the United Emirates in this, which tends to get things.
I believe there is.
Yeah, I think there is definitely.
Because it is the owner of Ebbsfleet Football Club.
Yeah,
that is actually the main backer of the project.
Is that official then? Because I know that I did see that.
Yeah,
is that official. Yeah,
he's part of the company and has done a lot of private funding for it. But I think there was a thing of he was going to start withdrawing funding at some point, and it had to become a self-sustainable entity going forward.
Just for context, guys, James lives 5 seconds away from where they were going to build the resort.
Before you live, what you live there? You live What you live close?
About a 5-10 minute drive from the site. Yeah.
Oh,
he lives very close.
Why did I think you lived in Wales?
I did previously.
Oh, you moved. You moved.
I lived in. I've moved 3-4 years ago.
Okay, right? Okay, I must have got confused with that then. Yeah. So, but yeah, because the thing is as well, the fact that not to get under downer situation, but the fact that the stuff that's going on with the Russian sanctions, how all money's being pulled out of football clubs, I reckon it's opening up money from other place sources. I reckon money's going elsewhere. Money's going into football. Like that's where the money is. So because that's happening, is that going to have like a knock-on effect to London Resort, where everyone starts pulling the money out and then putting its stuff into that's like guaranteed to make a profit and stuff? Because there's a lot of like football,
not like something that has to go back into planning and has to go through all of this rigmarole.
But that's obviously me just like thinking about that, like, but like speculating.
Games that all the jumping spiders loose on the site.
Oh,
do we need jumping spiders? Do we need them?
No one needs those.
No,
I missed this
Australia
article.
need them. What?
I missed this article. 15th of March.
Right.
FC United owner leaves the board of London Resort Company. He's not actually on the board of chairman anymore.
There you go.
So that is a lot of investment money that they could have had not in there anymore.
It's whether
and
or
that
not
comes with BBC and ITV pulling out as well.
The thing is, I think if they actually get it to a stage that it's going to happen, I'm sure they'll manage to get funding for it, right?
Yeah.
It's an interesting enough proposition that as soon as they get through the hurdles, someone will fund it. It's just getting through the hurdles.
If they get that park open, like even if it's like not that very good, like
even if it's shit, it'll still be good, right? Because it doesn't matter. At least it exists, and therefore it can be built upon in the future. Do
you know what I find funny? Do you know what I find funny is just how much we could. Obviously, they've been trying to build this place for however many fucking years now. But like, it's just funny to me that like let's be completely honest. We all want a destination park resort in this country, like on a global scale, to compete with the Disneyland Parises, the Europa Parks, the Eftelings, like all of those, even like Universal and Disney in America. Like we all want that. And when someone's trying to, obviously I'm not saying it's going to be the UK Disneyland or anything or any bullshit like that.
Oh, it is.
UK Disneyland.
Obviously,
UK Disney.
Obviously, I'm not saying it's going to be that, but we have some people who are actively trying and not giving up to try and give us that, and we all collectively just like, nah, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. We all want
British way.
We all want this
it's
thing.
Just the British way, Mikhail.
We all want this thing so bad.
We're all pessimists.
And someone's trying to give us it, and then we're like, nah, it's not gonna happen.
But it's a defense mechanism, man. Come on, it's
it is a defense mechanism, isn't it?
Kind of like you don't want to get your hopes up.
No,
because like we got our hopes up when it was first announced.
This is it. It's been on the cards for like 10 years, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah. But I always come back to the fact that Epic Universe, like that's being built, and that was announced like I'm sure it was announced in the 90s. Obviously, it hasn't been in development all that time. They had a break from it because it went off the cards. But like that, they bought that land back in the 90s to do this, and they announced some sort of thing. So it's not like it's just never going to happen because there's all these stops. These bottlenecks really, but I've still got faith that something might happen. But I've also in the back of my head, like we said before, I think it's just going to become like a flipping cinema complex with
it's going to be a leisure
TGI Friday,
with Olympic size pool, TGI's, Nando's, like you name it. With one of them zip lines that you lie down on and you go through it, like with the lights and the RGB and everything.
Oh no, they'd hate that. Blue Water has one now.
Oh yeah,
they have a zip line over Blue Water now.
They wouldn't even get planning for that.
Matt's saying who owns Energylandia? We need them on board with all their money and coasters. Well, I keep saying the money's coming from EU. So like, if we were still part of it, we might actually be having some money from it.
That's definitely not how it works, is it? Sure, whatsoever.
Oh no,
no. I get your point.
A lot of more than you think was funded by it.
Oh no, I 100% agree. Not sure how much of our tourism board was funded by the EU, but a lot of it different things were.
A lot of specific projects to like heritage sites.
Yeah, revitalization as well.
like museums and
The-
things like
the
that.
car
There's a lot
park
of
that I
What
can't
I want
really
to
meet
I
out.
know that's
what
so
I want to
fun.
know with Energylandia is how much money those Energylandia the Energy 2000 clubs around Poland actually make like how much money those make for the owner, because he's the one who owns the park. So like,
Right.
how much money is he getting from that to just dump right into the park?
He must
That's
own
what
a lot of money to build that park so quickly. You know, the EU's only funding a part of it, right? Not all of it. So
legit at the moment, he probably owns all the manufacturers. Like, it's just a test. It's just a test area for all the new rides.
Can they choose better rides? Because they keep choosing it. It's not it, man.
Yeah.
Not it.
Yeah,
Very
it's
top heavy.
They haven't figured out how to buy theming properly either, have they?
No,
2D
don't
vinyl.
quite mastered 3D.
Not quite.
It's nasty.
Great at wallpaper.
Well, to be fair, I've not been there yet, and everyone here always says it always looks better than you think, sort of thing. Like the park feels better, like than you think it's going to be. But yeah, like what you've said it before, but the concept images they always come out with look just insane. And then
I was going to say they've got the master planning. They've got the master planning down. Except for
Fantasia.
Spot on. Yeah, that's true. Europa Park is also really bad at that. They always do these lavish, images, and then they build it. It's just like, no, ain't it, man? It's like the dragon snake thing in their water park. Rulantica came out of the bus. Yeah. Look at Rulantica on the images, the concept art. It looks like a magical place. The real Rulantica ain't it. That's just it's nothing like it.
No, you are right about that.
Things change the concept out, though. We'll say that.
Well, things do change, of course, but like, a bit much.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they theme up the new Mark Big Dipper for next year.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't think it would be Lost Gravity theming.
Hopefully not. I mean, we'll see. It'd be interesting. It's in the new Croatia area of the park. They could do anything for it.
Yeah, maybe. So we're gonna come down a level, and we're gonna touch on Icon Park. What's happened recently? Obviously, like, it's really, really tragic situation that's happened. In case you didn't know, I'm pretty sure everyone knows who's watching this, but their free fall drop tower, which is like the tallest in the world, had a really unfortunate accident where a 14-year-old lad died from falling out of the restraints. It's just obviously so tragic. I couldn't get my head around it when I saw it. And I just think in 2022, like, how is this should not happen?
No,
obviously there's a lot of finger pointing that never helps. Like, just let the investigation like do its course and stuff.
Yeah,
but I mean, just by looking at the what's come out already, it seems like there's a lot of different people to blame. It's not just one person's thing to blame. What's come out recently is that they had locked, the restraints had locked, but they're saying that he was like something like 63 pounds over the weight limit. That was in the book, but then there's other people saying that it shouldn't matter about the weight limit. But then it's in the book, it says like it gives like a really specific way to be like if they don't fit into the curvature of the seat and all this sort of stuff. And it's kind of like, that shouldn't matter. Like, there shouldn't be that room for error. There just shouldn't be. Like, it's a badly designed ride.
And it definitely shouldn't be left up to operator error in order for that to be oh shit, I had the word that I wanted to use. I've completely forgotten it. It shouldn't be at operator's discretion in order to
No, it shouldn't be.
No.
It's really sad, and thoughts and prayers go out to everyone affected and involved with this, and hopefully safety gets top priority here once again, and improvements are made by the manufacturer for this ride system moving forward, because it needs to happen. how you can put a drop tower up there so high without putting seatbelts on it. It baffles me a little bit, to be fair. Because it's a fail safe for a fail safe for a fail safe, and it has a proven track record of saving lives. So,
and you know, really. This is, I don't know if this has been said about, but my thought about the seatbelts was like, even if they didn't do anything, like, because even if they didn't do anything, like this guy got he couldn't go on like 2 rides in the park. They denied him, but they were letting him go on this. So if the seatbelt, if the seatbelt, for example, wouldn't fit around someone, they couldn't go on it. So that would have saved his life. If nothing else, like, it would have just been an indicator. If that's the thing. It's just absolutely horrible. And the thing is, I mean, I don't, like I say, don't want to go into too much speculation, but it should have had seatbelts. Like, it should have, in the manual, it says, it talks about the seatbelts, and apparently, it talks about the seatbelts. If you read the bits in the manual, it says, it refers to the seatbelts in the safety guidelines. And someone, this is the finger pointing now, someone made the decision, like, not to have the seatbelts, like pushed for it to not have seatbelts. But again, this is what I'm reading in, like, official articles, not just Twitter. This is what I'm reading. So that's what I'm just reporting on that.
That's crazy.
But yeah, it's just crazy. Like, the best thing that could, it sounds harsh to say, like, what good can come from it, but hopefully the good thing that could come from it is will never happen again. And it's kind of it's revealed a blind spot. A real big blind spot that needs to be addressed. Because, like,
under any circumstance, safety comes first above everything. I mean, you hear John Wadley and everybody when they talk about ride systems and creating them from prototypes to, getting them into the theme park. Safety is number one on everyone's tongue when they say
it has to be.
The new system. Yeah, it has to be. Of course it does. I just feel like it's, it's just mad oversight. Them seatbelts, seriously.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, I've seen so many people say it's the ops fault. This is what really annoys me, is like, it's never the ops fault. Never the ops fault.
Especially not in this case.
In any case, because at the end of the day, like, the park trains them up. The park is responsible for making sure that they're doing the right procedure, that they know everything. At the end of the day, like, these ride ups are, like, paid nothing. They're like, most of the time they're like, either still at, especially in America, they're probably still at school. It's one of them, like, they're never at fault. And it was like, not to bring hate ever to bring it up, but the whole Smiler incident, like, it was user error, but it wasn't that person's fault. Like, there was so many different things that were surrounding it. It wasn't that person's fault. And that's just the way it is. There's so many, like, a park, or obviously this is an operator, so Icon Park don't operate these rides. It's a Slingshot Group who rent the land off Icon Park and operate these rides. Like, it's up to them just to make sure that everyone knows what they're doing. Everyone just knows what they're doing. But yeah, when I saw it, I saw the photo of, like, the restraint and what it was like obviously that should be common sense, but that's because we're enthusiasts and we know how restraint should sit, and it just looks off. Like, this is the kid or person who's just come in and got, like, a little part-time job. So it's it's horrible, and to have to be in that situation, to feel like you may be caused that situation, like, that's just
it's a harrowing thing.
Like, and then reading, like, oh, you caused the situation. No, like, I disagree massively.
No,
like
the main thing for me is, like I said at the top of the segment, like whether or not someone is within the weight limit to ride a ride like that should not be left, like, the decision to make of whether or not that person is in a weight, or any person is in a weight limit, that shouldn't be left to the operators. I saw I think it was Sarah, Midway Mayhem fan on Twitter, had said that like, why was there not a scale like to
if there's a weight limit? Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
If there's a weight limit, why is there not a scale before riders board?
Yeah.
Before riders board the ride, there are countless water parks now that use that for their water slides. You hop onto the scale, and you know the scale weighs you, and then like obviously uses that collective weight of how many people are going into that raft to you know be able to decide whether it's safe for everyone in that raft to go down that raft. Why couldn't the same thing? Why couldn't something similar at least be done like that? So it's not up to the discretion of the operator. Because how can you look at somebody and tell exactly how much they weigh? You can't do that. But nobody can do that.
I think with water rides, that's fair because it's water. It's like it's not like a stable thing. But I think when it comes to rides, like no one's ever thought. You either go, I'm too big for the restraint. You never go, am I too heavy for this ride?
Yeah,
like,
no,
that's
I always
think.
think,
sure,
I always think
that's not a thing.
Sure, and I mean, like the ideal situation is that there should have been seatbelts on the restraints. Like that's the ideal scenario. But if you're gonna go with a weight, if the designers and manufacturers are gonna go with a weight limit, you cannot leave that decision up to the operators.
I don't think it's. I just think it's a little thing that the manufacturers put in there to try and get, just to say they've put it in there. Like I don't think it bears any relevance to the safety of the actual ride. At the end of the day, it's just the how far the restraint is coming out, or how big you're coming out. You see, and I just think, like Marcus said, like the way that restraint was sitting, like that just shouldn't. Even if it's locked, like that shouldn't like be that, like that far out. Like it just shouldn't be. Like that should be the indication that it's not safe. But there we go. We'll see what else comes out about it. But like I say, we got to talk about it at the end of the day. We can't just say everything's like, everything's nice in.
It's not something we can ignore
in this world. It's not. This is part of it, and it happens now and again. And unfortunately, it's another death has occurred. This week, was it this week? I think
it was literally yesterday.
It was last day. Olympia looping, which we all know what Olympia looping is. It was in Vienna, in Austria.
Vienna Prater.
Vienna Prater. Yeah, and so there's been a death. What it's been reported as, no official sources, but what it's been reported as is that a worker got hit by a train. So really horrible. And again, our thoughts go out to the family and everyone involved close to that situation. It's a horrible thing to happen. So just really sad that this has happened, like just so close together as well. Like
it's mad, isn't it?
It's just crazy. But anyway, on to COTAland. I'm saying it like that because COTAland sounds weird, and COTAland, I don't know, COTAland. So so this is the news. Okay, McCall decided to go on a bit. That's his news.
Switch it up, Sean, quick on the fly. Let's go.
So we've got some Americans in the chat. So just correct me if I'm wrong, right? So COTAland it's a racetrack. It's called what was it? Something of the Americas.
Circuit of the Americas.
Circuit of the Americas. Went straight out my head. Circuit of the Americas. And they've been steadily kind of increasing their ride offerings. It's pretty much it's not really open at the minute. I think they had a soft launch. Was it earlier this year or like last year? They had a soft opening. A lot of kiddie rides there, like a wacky worm, and a Schwartz, like relocated
Schwarzkopf
Wildcat, yeah. And just like loads of kiddie rides, but they've recently announced that they're getting one of the new generation Vekoma Tilt coasters. This is on top of the news that they announced. Harry, you know this, the Gerstlauer, what's it called?
Yeah, that was last year, wasn't it? The Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster Palindrome. That's opening in 2022, and then this new coaster's opening in 23.
So the Gerstlauer,
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, the Gerstlauer, for those who don't know, it was announced at IAPA, and it
Yeah.
was the first ever non-complete circuit. So basically like a boomerang style, it comes back on itself. That's the technical term.
Sure.
Yeah, they would go with that. So that in itself is pretty exciting. But then they're saying this new tilt coaster, which everyone was talking about Energylandia a couple of weeks ago. Kind of
right.
Saying they're going to get this potentially get it. But I think like because in the chat, Mikhail, you said like, oh, maybe Energylandia aren't getting it. I still think they might be getting it. It's just that this is the first.
Oh, I think Energylandia is still going to get one. I just like because I don't know if you guys had seen on the there had been some other photos floating around of the prototype over at the Vekoma plant. There was some red and blue. There was some red track with blue supports on it as well.
Oh, okay. So you thinking
and that is the exact color scheme of this one going to COTAland. So maybe COTAland, probably. I don't know if they're going to get them like in the same year. I think Energylandia is still going to get one. They may not just get the one that we saw. I don't
think they'd build the prototype and paint it like the one that is going to go into the park. I think that's just what it was painted, and they've probably just used that as an example,
maybe
just to go off. Personally,
could have even been a photo shoot for the track.
I'm just saying, like, that's the first I've heard of that, but I'm just thinking, I don't know if that necessarily means, the prototype of Fly didn't end up in Ruckberg because it was just like a little circuit.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they used literally the exact track work, but I don't want to like the direction of the track that goes from the station up to the launch is exactly the same as in that Vekoma prototype.
Okay.
Like without giving too much away about the about what Fly does.
But played like, Ride Sims, mate. It's already over on me. It's done.
But yeah, like it's exactly the same.
It's not unheard of that manufacturers reuse their the what do you call them?
The track work from the prototypes.
Yeah.
Track work. Yeah. So I just think I'm the only person who is like not excited by a tilt coaster.
I was thinking, how's Vekoma managed to sell 2 of them?
Like,
I don't get that.
I feel
maybe
like
the layout after it.
That's the point I was going to make. It has to like. I think
it's all about the layout. But sorry, what I was going to say was, unless you're at the front, I just feel like a tilt coaster is like over engineered. What?
Nah, if you're on the back of a tilt coaster, imagine the visual. Let me finish what
I was going to say. Jesus, I'm saying, unless you're at the front, I feel like it's just an over-manufactured dive coaster. Like, even at the back, like, when you see, I mean, I've only seen POVs of like Gravity Max, and obviously that's like 20 years ago or whatever, but it's the same concept. And like when you're at the back, like I've seen POVs in the back, and you're kind of going over, and then it comes to a point. I'm like, yeah, but you could just be on track,
be on a dive coaster.
Like you literally could just be on a dive coaster. It looks the same, like, but if you're on the front, yeah, it's gonna look amazing. But I'm just thinking it's an over-engineered dive coaster at the minute. But yeah, carry on with what you're saying now, Luke.
I think the feeling of it would be different to a dive coaster with the length of the trains. How high you actually go above.
You're getting lifted
like
up.
Slammer.
If you're
not
at the
just
back, you're
going over.
Yeah, like Slammer.
Lifting up.
Yeah.
Yeah, similar to a Slammer. You're going a lot higher than that pivot point.
You go back and then over. So you kind of, you like James just said, you pivot over. So when you actually get on the back of that ride and the front of the train, that visual, and if you're going into some mad next-gen Vekoma layout after that, that's going to be pretty fun, I reckon.
Yeah,
I think it's over-engineered. I think it's just
I do see what you're saying about it being over-engineered, though.
Yeah, for sure.
My thing is, like you said, Luke, like, it can't just be that. It can't just be that
the
gimmick, that gimmick of tilting into the drop. Because it is a gimmick. There needs to be a solid and intelligent layout after it.
I mean,
in order for it to be an effective ride
and a cool theme.
Even with that in mind, because I never thought it wasn't going to have a sick layout, because like Vekoma are stepping it up, and they are
for sure
doing good and like dive coasters are just having like better and better layouts. But I just think that element of it, like it's just like I need to see the rest of the layout to start getting excited about it. Like it's a cool beginning. But if it's it can't just be that,
because Gravity Max looks it looks trippy as hell when it's tilting into the drop and everything, and that drop goes into a tunnel, doesn't it? It goes.
That tunnel looks insane, man.
Yeah, it looks crazy.
Like it's you actually pull some G's in that. Like
and then like you're going around a tight turn in the tunnel as well, up into the loop and stuff.
I mean, it looks rattly as fuck, but it seems like
probably is.
Yeah.
John made a comment in the chat there saying tilt coasters seem like the perfect TikToks and Instagram reels.
Yeah, which you know,
right, the most scariest roller coaster in the world.
Well, that's like,
I mean,
that one in I'll just make a quick comment. Like that one in Japan, that dive coaster Vanish or some shit like that. We've all seen it on like those clickbaity YouTube videos. Like that is that it's not a tilt coaster obviously, but like
it's got a vibe.
It's well, it's at the end of the day, like there's nothing wrong with a gimmick, because it's like the famous words of John Wardley, like it should, like a coaster should be as fun
off ride as it is on ride,
which it's always good. Like that is, and it is a marketing thing in itself then, isn't it?
Especially
even to this day, like like Oblivion pulls in crowds still. Like it's still like people are like blown away by it.
Man, it's amazing.
With the location of where it is going to be as well, it does make a lot of sense for them to have something that's visually eye-catching. It does something because they're not that common to come by, tilt coasters.
True.
And the fact that it's an F1 racetrack.
But isn't there only one like actual tilt coaster, or is there's
a few rip-off tilt coasters knocking around? So I think there might only be one Vekoma one.
One for
Gravity Max, but there's a few other. There's like
I'm sure Golden Horse have ripped times.
There's one that's dual that have two next to each other.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Actual
that one looks a bit
Vekoma is Gravity Max and then Circuit Breaker, which is coming.
Okay. No one might get this, but I just want to say one thing to thrill riders. Oh hell yeah! But no one else is going to get that.
There you go.
You'll know what you say.
Anyway,
so a tilt coaster, just quickly though, a tilt coaster with the right theme and the right thought process behind it, other than it's just steel and it's just going to tilt, could be really, really fucking cool. Like if you had a massive show building or something to hide like what's going on, and then like coaster goes up, comes down, like man, that'd be sick. It'd be so cool. Doing it in Planet Coaster on No Limits, like just building a building that goes into and then drops out.
Sam is in the comments. He said Gringotts is a tilt coaster. Yeah, it is. I think like this is obviously going to be the first Vekoma one that America is getting, but I think like what's going to make all the difference with this one is well, for one, it's outside. Two, it's much higher, so there's going to be a much like increased sense of like just sense of height, and I suppose added adrenaline, like in that sense, like the way that Gringotts does it is obviously it's indoors and it's within story, and it's much smaller, like the way it's done.
I didn't actually know it was a tilt coaster.
How far does it tilt?
It doesn't. Well, I don't know if this Vekoma one is going to go vertical, but
you'd hope so.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
It's got to, surely.
Gringotts
is small.
Gringotts doesn't tilt that far.
Just like 20, a little dip like that.
It's like 20 foot, I think.
Isn't that what the spinning coaster for COTAland do? One of them, doesn't it? One of the first one.
Yeah.
Seesaw section.
I think in Gringotts, it feels crazy because of like everything else that's going around you, doesn't it?
Sorry for ruining this ride for you, Luke. But
do you know what? That was you know that I'd not seen much of Gringotts before.
I didn't know anything about Gringotts
because Gringotts.
I've never seen a POV of it either.
It was so overshadowed by everything, like from like Forbidden Journey, that I saw the queue line, like everyone saying like, oh, how cool the queue was, which is amazing. Like, that's the thing. Like, pretty much everything except for Hagrid's is worth queuing up for. Like, just doing the normal queue for it in Universal because it's just so good. But yeah, like it just Gringotts blew my mind when I was on it because I didn't realize it was like, you know, I didn't even know it was like a proper coaster.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just like, yeah.
We were talking about this earlier today, weren't we?
Yeah, on Twitter. Yeah, it's just for me. I need to go. Yeah, anyway.
You keep saying these names of rides, and I'm like, I need to pinch myself and wake up, man. Like 83 days, and I'm there. I can't wait.
I saw. Oh my god! I was watching Bobby Healy's vlog.
Yeah,
and he was going to do Flosser and I've never watched a vlog in my life and been like so pumped for someone to go and ride it because like you can just see the excitement on his like. He's like, I can't believe I'm here. I just cannot believe it. Like, and like, and it's like film getting close to it. And I'm like, oh my god, like, yeah, it's just
his reactions are so genuine as well.
Yeah, I was pretty much like that when I was going to Universal and getting on like most of the coasters there. Like, yeah, I was like, I can't believe I'm going on this. I've just watched it for so long. Like, it's such a good feeling.
Dude, last year was the 4th time I've been, and I still had that.
It's unreal.
That reaction to it.
Gringotts is carrying the studio parks though. Nah, ET Adventures. ET Adventures still carrying that park. I don't know, man. I wouldn't say. I still think Studios has got like Mummy. Like fucking out. That is like that's like one of the best dark rides ever. Like Return of the Mummy.
Yeah,
dark ride coasters.
I don't think it's going to be.
I don't think it's going to. I think you're going to miss that one, unfortunately.
Another reason to go back.
And I got news. This isn't a news topic, but I got news because we got the dates for Halloween Horror Nights, and it's when I'm going to be there. I'm going to get an entire week of Halloween Horror Nights.
Well timed.
Like that is like one of my dreams is to like go and do that, and it wasn't even planned. It was just like
happened.
It's the only 2 weeks we could have done. We booked it in, and then like normally we would have got, if it had gone like normal, we could have got like the opening night maybe, but they've brought it forward. So yeah, like we're gonna get the multi-night ticket and just like go crazy, man. Even if it's not just to keep doing all the houses, just like the atmosphere of it just looks so cool, and there's not really much else to do on the night time when you're in Florida, unless you got like Fun Spot obviously and things like that, but we're around the corner from there, so yeah, I'm just so looking forward to that.
The one thing when I eventually get to Halloween Horror Nights, the one thing I'm looking forward to more so than anything else unequivocally is pizza fries. Like I need pizza fries in my life. if
yeah, it does.
Of course it does. Of course it does.
Or Valhalla. It's normally Valhalla, to be honest.
That's bingo card.
Oh,
dude,
damn it! Why did I mention it? Right. So, yeah. So it seems a good time to get on this. I told you this news thing was going to go on for a while.
An hour.
Right. Yeah. Right. So, Mikhail, what are we talking about then? What are we doing?
We are gonna have a little chat about
this is where Harry's like rustling.
This is the disciplinary.
Got my data next to me.
No, it's not just a couple papers. It's an entire folder. Wax it down onto the desk.
Wax it down on the
This is what I do, fellas. This is what I do.
It's like a scroll from Gringotts. Wax it out.
Yeah, so
I hereby declare.
I was just thinking the other day, and I was thinking like, what it really is like the best decade of coasters out of the ones that we've had. So I was like, it's probably a good thing to talk about on the podcast. So like we could look at like I don't know how far back you guys want to go, but like we've got
to be. I reckon we start from 80s, surely.
Yeah.
Start from the 80s.
Like the 80s.
Do we include like now? Do we include like the 20s?
I wasn't thinking to include the 20s because we're only 2 years into it. So like I was gonna.
I'm out. Like, see you later. I'm gone.
But we can if you want. But I was saying to you, Luke, like, of course, like now is always going to be like.
I get that.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's.
Man, I'm just fucking stoked to ride Velocicoaster soon.
Well,
that's the only
I don't know if
that's
that's true that the most recent 2 years have been the best because of COVID.
No.
It's only this year that a lot of the kind of interesting things have reopened.
Mm-hmm.
So the 2 years that we have to go on.
It's when you think about like just the amount of good coasters that have opened up just this year. It's like insane. Like
fucking mental.
Some of them have gone to the like straight to the top of a lot of people's like like
thanks SeaWorld
ones, which is crazy, really. But yeah, so we disregard the 20s then. We'll go 80s, 90s, noughties, 10s,
and 2010s. Yeah.
Oh,
go on. What were you gonna say?
Me.
Yeah, I thought you were about to. I thought you were about
I
to
didn't say anything.
I'd like to interject. The 1810s. Because considered when the first modern roller coaster
we'll just say that default
started it all off.
See, if that
I'll
didn't
just start that with Big Dipper. All right, Big Dipper.
Thank you for watching the Chain Dogs podcast. That has been the debate.
No, it opened in Paris.
What?
Yeah, in 1817.
Mm-hmm.
It was considered the first.
Was it called a Russian mountain?
Was it the ice mountains?
Yeah. Those Russian ice mountains. I don't know why they were called
It's
Russian
not
mountains.
really a coaster.
No,
that's like calling Tamworth Snowdome.
No, this was Promenades Ariens.
What's the one near you?
Chill Factor, man.
Chill Factor.
Yeah.
Chill
Factor. Oh, that building is insane, though. That building.
It wasn't an ice coaster. It was wheeled cars securely locked onto a track. An actual coaster design.
Oh,
is it the one that's a full circuit?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I know the one you're on about.
Promenades Ariens.
That was 1810.
1817, yeah.
Wow.
You were busy, man.
Wow.
Busy.
We have been insane people for a long time.
There you go. Best decade done.
I'll give you another good decade. 1920s. That was a good decade for roller coasters because there was a hell of a lot of them. So,
indeed.
Blackpool Pleasure Beach still at the beach.
It's crazy to think we still got it. Yeah.
So if we look at the 80s first, it's kind of easy to pinpoint. Like,
Sorry, you can carry on, right? I'm just gonna say, should we all first just say what we think is the best decade, or shall we visit each decade? Like, how do you envision this going?
I reckon we should visit each decade.
Yeah, I was thinking we would go through each decade first and then decide which one we think is.
Make informed decisions.
Yeah. So like, and I mean, I'm going to be heavily supported and helped by RCDB during this.
Yeah,
but as you imagine, we all are. But
if I'm looking this way, I'm not looking at RCDB. I promise.
But yeah, like I think with the 80s, it's quite easy to like I was saying. I think it's quite easy to pinpoint where the vast majority of the notable coasters were coming from in the sense of aerodynamics and Schwarzkopf
definitely
just dominating with their affordable clones and like the looping stars from Schwarzkopf and the corkscrews and the loop screws from aerodynamics. And I mean, obviously, and this is gonna be an easy thing to note about the later decades because obviously had technology on their side, but in the 80s they obviously like Arrow didn't make their coasters using computers, like so to be able to offer
in the 90s either.
To be able to offer that product at an affordable price and keep reproducing different products for parks. I think that along with Arrow Dynamics along with Schwarzkopf, they got the most out of what they possibly could during that time frame.
Yeah.
And they were some of the best. They were like almost always like the best coasters at the parks, and it seems like, obviously I wasn't alive at that time, but it seems like your park wasn't like a park, like a notable park, like on the map, if it didn't have like an arrow corkscrew or like a or like a Schwarzkopf, you know, like a shuttle looper or like just some kind of Schwarzkopf looper.
Are you going with 80s then, McCall?
We're not deciding yet, are we?
I think, you know what? I think, I don't know, man. I think we should make a case rather than have McCall talk for every decade. And I think we'll naturally come with our own reasons for it, and we'll probably talk through this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless I don't know, like, it's up to you.
Well, like I was thinking that we would just talk like together through like each decade. It wouldn't just be me rattling off like the best things about each decade.
I wanted a spicier debate than this, but we'll go with the easy. We'll go with the McCall softly approach.
Softly.
Yeah. Okay. Corkscrew was born in the
so just any.
Vekoma, so just throwing that out there.
You what? Say that again. Sorry, Luke.
Corkscrew was Vekoma, wasn't it? And that was like a massive thing for the UK, like huge. So that's
starting off. That Towers wouldn't be what it was.
No,
because Corkscrew was like a temporary ride. Like, well, it was described as temporary. Right? It was like a temporary permit, and that kind of that enabled them to kind of get away with putting. Still, like, we've already got this here, so now we've got to have this.
We get another one. Yeah.
It kind of give him a bit of leverage, didn't it? To be like,
yes, it was proof that people will come to the park more to ride this.
Yeah.
So let's build this, and then more people will come, and then over the years, more rides, more coasters, more people.
Yeah.
All right, so
1.25 million for Corkscrew as well. Just looking at an RCDB.
Yeah.
See, we talk about like John Wardley a lot, and obviously with good reason, but also like John Boom. We should have a statue of him in the park, like Walt Disney.
Petition. Let's get it sorted.
Yeah.
What's the website? Change.org.
Get Aaron on the case. He knows all about it.
Yeah.
All right, sure.
Yeah, like Sam wants to hear Harry's full analysis and justification for a decade. This is the thing, man. I want to.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll do it
this
way.
At least.
We can just talk about which one we think is the best. Like we can do that if you want.
I don't want to go.
I think so, because I feel like if we're talking for every decade, it's just like not going to be as much us talking properly about it. Like, I feel like it'd be good because like McCall's got the research, so he can back up different people and be like, oh, and also this and that. You're playing
extremely.
I don't have
with the word research.
I don't have research. I've just got.
No. If I can't have now, then obviously it's 90s for me.
What?
To be honest with you.
90s. What would you say?
Why?
Harry?
Why 90s?
Yeah,
Luke.
For me personally, the birth of the big one, birth of Nemesis, which made me an enthusiast. And the amount of coasters that came from them too. Obviously, the prototype being in America first, we got Nemesis, and then after that was just a snowball effect. B&M were introduced to the park at all the towers, the park that I love. More B&Ms were introduced to the park that I love, and it just sparked the relationship with being an enthusiast. Was the 90s for me, was when I actually came out of my shell, got on rides. Because I used to go to Pleasure Beach with mum and dad all the time, but I'd never go on anything. I was too scared when I was little. But after like that time,
this is why the 90s means the most to you personally, not necessarily.
I was thinking objectively.
But objectively as well. All I ever saw and grew up with was the history of the 90s coasters, like on TV, Discovery Channel, all that kind of stuff. Seeing the technology at the time, just pushing things like. I'm not sure if Superman was 90s, I'm not sure, but just like seeing things that were just out of Superman this world, and just like
96.
blew my mind for me. And everything that's come since that period to me have sparked from that decade, from more ambitious frills, more ambitious ride types, more ambitious, inversions and all that kind of stuff has all come from that decade onwards. And I feel like that really pushed this era to be like, we've done this for so long, and this is why I wanted to choose this era, because for so long B&M have done this, for so long Intamin have done this, but the last 4 or 5 years, maybe even like 10 years, maybe the boundaries that manufacturers have been pushing since the 90s is just fucking incredible. And now the closest we've got now,
I would argue though, making a case for now, for example, say if you're saying it was now, I still feel like there was so much more because of the competition in the 90s. I mean, like CCI was born in the 90s, like GCI was born in the 90s. There's just so like there was all these, it was just like a real big competition. Obviously we had like the record breaking, like everyone was trying to beat each other. But like there's just so many models that were introduced that even our coasters now that are amazing, they're still kind of based on like there's not, except for like RMC really, like it's still like, you know, suspended coaster, it's like a flying coaster, a dive coaster, multi-launch, well they were 80s technically, but like you know, introduction of LIMs, like LSMs were like 90s, like all these things that even now that are making like the coasters like that are opening right this year, like they're still based on 90s coasters. And you could, I guess you could argue
well, you could keep taking that back, couldn't you? Though,
you could.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
And the 80s are based on the 70s.
Well, this is what I did think this as well, but like you're not
as much.
People aren't making like an Arrow suspended coaster anymore.
No,
but for good reasons, like, though.
Yeah, exactly. But like for good reasons, they're still making all these solid model types that are just like they're just solid. Like there was a lot of experimenting in the 80s, but it was obviously they didn't have the luxury of technology and stuff. But even like early 90s, we didn't have that technology and stuff.
No,
and that there was, you know, like Nemesis wasn't built using like computers and things, and that's still to this day. Like went on it the other day, and it's still running amazing. Like from my point of view.
Well, that just shows the like with the 90s. Like I think obviously there are other factors as well, but with the 90s we're talking about the dominance of B&M, aren't we?
Exactly.
Like, they came in and with the skill level of Bolliger and Mabiard, like they were able to do things that Arrow just weren't able to do. Even though it's not like they had like drastically better technology than them, they were just better engineers.
Well, Alan Schilke has said like when he started working for Arrow, like they had just given up. Like they were like, with the market leaders, like we'll just keep making like the same old shit again. And he was like, no, this is what we're gonna do. And he was trying to push him in that direction and stuff. And then ultimately they like, you know, they tried to do something different. But they went bankrupt before that. But I feel like I know what you're saying in terms of like you can just say like this built up on that and built up on that, but I just think objectively, just looking at the amount of coasters that even now, you know, we're talking about retracking all these different coasters like from the 90s, doesn't tend to happen that much with 80s coasters. It kind of just like,
well, because most of them are good.
Yeah, but you could retrack it, like, you know.
You could, but why would you? Because it's not very good.
Well, but Python, you know.
Yeah, but that was a stupid decision based on
people's
love of the ride, even though it's not very good objectively.
Yeah, but
it's nostalgia, isn't it? Nostalgia plays a big part in that kind of thing, and it's entirely nostalgia. If someone said how good is Python on a scale of 1 to 10 based on coasters that currently exist, it'd be like a 4, wouldn't it, or a 3?
Yeah. It would, but I'm just saying, I think, but that's my case for the fact that 90s coasters, even without the computers, were just built better, and they just had a better design to them. There was like better thought out about, and I just think it almost pushed coasters like 3 decades. Like, yes, we are obviously our coasters, but I feel like 90s was the era that for me, I'm thinking, well, I'd say objectively, it pushed everything. Like it went into super speed. Everything just developed so quick, and it's
Sammy in the chat did said it was the transition to the modern coaster era.
Yeah, I agree.
I do agree with that. But the thing about that is it's what do you place more value on? Do you place more value on the inception of better engine like design language of coasters, or do you place more value on how those design principles and the products that have been birthed as a result of that, like the way those have been improved in the 2000s and in the 2010s?
Yeah.
Like what do you place more significance on? Like the fact that they were established in the 90s, or the fact that they were improved on like later on? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Are you saying
that'll dictate a lot of your decision, I think.
Yeah, I feel like even though we've come a long way, a massively long way since the 90s, I just feel like there's this basic things that were established in the 90s that you just like kind of just works. And we can just focus on layout now, and like
so this is what I was
that.
So this is what
because
I was
like you know, it's even like looking at like the clamshell was invented in the 90s. That's still a solid like restraint, and that was the I don't know, that kind of not invented the lap bar, but kind of pushed it to the fact that like lap bars can be safe and all sorts, and then it's been built on top of that. But then you got RMC like building a horrible restraint system, so that's like surely that's going backwards. Like you know,
because RMC don't really know what they're doing. I think we've learned that.
when it comes to train design, anyway.
Well, I think when it comes to building roller coasters generally, they don't really know what they're doing. I don't know. Like
I feel like
the layouts are very good, obviously. Thank you, Alan Chilkey, right? But like the fundamental design of these rides, it wouldn't surprise me if one of them does, like some of the first ones just don't last. They do not seem like they're very well designed rides or well put together, or well thought of.
Yeah,
you know,
like you see instances of that with like Steel Vengeance basically tearing itself apart in like its second or third year or so.
Well, this is
like
that. Being closed because one of the trains was trying to off itself. You know,
Lightning Rod having to be retracked.
But like. The whole saga of Lightning Rod's existence.
Yeah. I saw someone tweet the other day. I turned up and it's dead. It tried to go up the launch and then it just back. I was like, what? Oh man.
So this is the point I was going to make about the 90s in relation to the 2000s and 2010s. Like if we look at what like the products that we got throughout, like going throughout, like obviously like people talk about the coaster wars and a lot of different parks competing for that tallest and fastest kind of new toy basically. And
sorry, I'm trying to write a tweet here. I was saying we're debating live with CoasterBot, and I accidentally wrote we're beating live with CoasterBot.
Oh god,
very cool.
Wrong site for that, I think.
Yeah.
My mind didn't automatically go to the gutter. Like I was thinking, like,
my mind is permanently in the gutter.
James, mind out of gutter. Told
it's
you.
Permanently in there. I dropped it. I'm not picking it up. There you go.
It's all dirty now. I don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, carry on.
In fact, Harry said that Untamed was trying to off itself. I mean,
it was.
Click that.
Go for it.
Oh, I wish we could get like we should start doing blooper reels of each episode.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, back to my point. Like so like within the years of the Coaster Wars with parks just trying to compete with each other on who would get the tallest, who would get the fastest, who would get the longest, etc. Like that was the focus because that's what was bringing people to each park. So like as the inclusion of technology and the design principles of like as the inclusion of technology, you know, got more and more, and like the design principles of coasters got better and better, manufacturers were able to do more and more for these parks that were competing for ridership and and return visits and all of that stuff. And that eventually led to the fucking Millennium Force. Like we get Millennium Force, we get Top Thrill Dragster, we get King the Car, etc., etc. What is significant for me in the 2000s is how Cedar Point flipped that whole approach on its head with Maverick. Which is crazy in itself because Cedar Point is the one who was spearheading the Coaster Wars. At one point, they were basically just trying to outdo themselves. So for them for them to flip it on its head like that and get something which is much more low to the ground in Maverick and much more creative of a layout, that spearheaded a change of focus, and which has led to, obviously we get later on in the 2010s we get Taron, and then Tiger and etc., and more coasters that use the technology that was available, that had been improved on, that had been established and improved on, but use it in a more effective way and use it as a better way of being creative with the approach to the attraction. So it's that's what's bringing people in now. And in addition to that, we still get every now and again the coasters that break the speed. Every now and again we get the coasters that break the speed record in Formula Rosa. We get a Fury 325, which is unequivocally one of the best steel coasters in the world. We still every now and again get the coasters that just focus on the height and the speed, but then we also get the coasters that are much more focused on experience. I know we're not including the 2020s in this, but the shining example is Velocicoaster. Absolutely. But even before that, we get Hagrid's in 2019. In 2019 was it? That was I think that was 2019. So it's I'm kind of inclined to agree with what you were saying, Luke, about the decades of now. We are in the thick of the modern coaster era now, and the decades of now, because the improvements on technology are being made. The design principles are constantly being improved on, to the point where we're seeing manufacturers be able to do a whole heap of things, and in effect, and not just for the sake of doing them, but in effective ways as well.
Not to break records, but to actually create innovation in layouts and the way they use theming and interactions, head choppers,
a bunch of different things that all work together to provide a really high quality experience.
But we're not saying now. So what are you saying, Mikhail?
No, I'm talking about the 2010s. I'm talking about the 2010s.
Yeah.
2010s. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, you just ended on the fact that you were just now is the time.
Now is amazing.
Now is amazing. It is. But it's gonna be, because the technology always gets better. So, but are you saying 2010s would be?
I think I'm saying the 2010s. Yeah,
2010s.
I think I'm going to go with the 2010s.
Harry,
for me personally,
you've got the facts. We want to see the real facts.
The real facts.
What you think is
objectively, if we don't care about history and we look at how good roller coasters are, right, relative to each other, it is the 2010s, and there's no real question about it, right? We look at some of the best roller coasters that have opened. They're all recent, Steel Vengeance, 2018, Zadra, 2019. Literally reading off vote coasters here. Fury 55, 2015, Lightning Rod, 2016.
I felt there might be some bias there on the.
Well, I bias against what the 4,000 people who filled it in. So
I thought it was just you 4,000 times.
Yeah, well, it could have been. Yeah,
just for this podcast.
Just for the podcast.
Or
I think
Andrew,
the top 30 though.
or Andrew 4,000 times because
Well,
like,
Andrew,
I mean...
it would be him. I wouldn't do it. Screw that.
It's all a build up for this one podcast.
Well, you've got to plan ahead, haven't you? Yeah, but I think of the top 30 coasters, according to Vote Coasters, I something like 23 are in the 2010s.
Yeah,
you know, because as you've all mentioned, every decade builds upon the decade before, so you would expect roller coasters to get better. And Mikhail, I think you raised a good point about there was that transition from, you know, breaking records to making things more interesting, but it was inevitable because you can't keep breaking
records.
You have to change it, and
eventually doing that was just going to get way too expensive.
Exactly. And the Point realized that after they built Top Thrill Dragster, like, oh well, we can't really do anything else here unless you're going to spend excessive amounts of money. So we're going to have to make it more interesting.
That's what I think a byproduct of us then building up the immersion in rides as well. What you were talking about, Mikhail, is like that's the next stage we can only really go to, because you can't just keep going. You can't just keep.
Money is not unlimited, is it? So
no,
it's not that. It's not only that. It's just the fact that there's just so much out there for everyone to choose from now. It's kind of like the only way we can go is to how much money we can throw at the theming now, and create an actually immersive world.
It's more than just a roller coaster, isn't it? That's the point now.
And I feel like, definitely, 100%. I feel like, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, one thing I would add, right, is that, you know, I think the 2010s is the best decade for roller coasters, but you've all raised really good points, and I'd say the most interesting period of time for roller coasters so far would be late 90s, early 2000s, right? Hands down, because there's so much going on at that point in time. You know, we look at Intamin, as you said, just in the years prior, started to really start to use LSM and LIM tech. Very interesting. But then they started to build mega coasters, Expedition G-Force, 2001, very cool. Millennium Force, 2000, obviously very cool. Aero X2 in 2002. What the hell happened there? Sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What else we got? We got we've got the invention of the B&M Hypercoaster in 1999.
Yeah.
Which is stupid, right? Ridiculous.
I think, sorry, just to cut you off there, but just like what I think a lot of people forget as well, the amount of woodies that were being built in the 90s, was just obviously a lot of that is on CCI, but you know, we talk about a lot of RMCs, like people go mad for RMCs, and you know, a lot of them are like old CCIs, they were built. A lot of them were built in the 90s. Yeah, that they've been just improved on. So it's kind of like, it's nice. I like the fact that even though we were going mad about steel and trying to the most inversions the highest, we were still woodies were still relevant. And then they seem like they're having, you know, in 2010s as well, the kind of was a bit of a dip, but then I feel like they're coming back again even more. So I think, but I don't know. RMC might be fucking getting rid of all that. But anyway, carry on. Sorry.
I mean, you're right. There's a lot of woodies, even in this period. What we got here? We got Colossus from Intamin.
Colossus,
also 2001. What have we got? Shivering Timbers, Boulder Dash, Ghost Rider. All of those.
El Toro, 2006.
Just a few years later.
Stand ride looks insane. There's a book in this coaster.
Oh, it is. It is.
Yeah. Then we got just after the millennium, Intamin inventing the hydraulic launch coaster, SMS inventing the pneumatic launch coaster. Yep. You know, there's just so much that happened within B&M's floorless coaster also around that time. So much happened in that short space of time.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
B&M's flying coaster in 2002.
B&M's Flyer.
That's what I was
dive
thinking.
Coaster in 1998. You know,
for me, it's not one decade. It is that halfway through the 90s to halfway through the 2000s.
Yeah, 5 years there.
That was
insane.
the kind of 5 years either side. That was the major. You got B&M 100%. Doing all their development and prototyping kind of 90s side. And you got Intamin, SNS, all
if you were enthusiastic
crazy
5
leaps
years,
in
every year is like, what the hell is going on? You know,
legit.
every single one. So
because even when we get like the coasters now getting revealed, like, you know, Flosser Coaster blew people's mind, but it wouldn't be the same as being back then, and because these things are just unimaginable. Like, it was just unimaginable.
It didn't exist. Whereas Velocicoaster is like building on something that already exists. Whereas there wasn't a Mincemead hydraulic launch coaster.
Yeah,
no one did that. No one built accelerator until the accelerator existed. So
I would just, I know this is 94 what I'm talking about now, not this period, but I would have loved just to be alive. Well, I was alive in 94, but I was 4 years old. But I would have loved to be a part of that. Like just to walk into, I don't know, maybe be like this age back then, and just to see like Oblivion for the first time, and just be like, this thing, like,
I always say that
exist. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd love to. I mean, I'm glad I wasn't, because I'd be, you know, I'm glad I'm 33 right. I'm 32 right now. That's old enough as I want to be. But but I'll just experience that feeling of just seeing that for the first time, and knowing that this is like the first thing that's ever been created. It's just crazy to me. And so someone said earlier, I'm going off on a tangent as well, but there was just like, I do think this from time to time, and maybe it is because I was born in Tamworth, but the fact that Drayton Manor got like a stand-up coaster, like that is just that is like
a massive
at the time. I'm sure at the time it would have been, it would have been nice. I mean, I still like Shock.
Oh, I like it. I think it's great, but
but it's just mad that a place in Tamworth, just a little park, that the biggest coaster they had was like a Pinfari, was suddenly just got this beast. That blows my mind that even happened. But I do, carry on. Sorry, but I think what you're saying was really interesting, actually, about just that period of like 5 years or what?
5 years, and so much happened. So in terms of like objectively best coasters, the most recent decade. But if we're talking about real kind of development and massive change within the industry as a whole, those 5 years, I would say, were the biggest thing. Also going back to the 80s, you know, the widespread use of loops and inversions was also something that must have blown people's mind, right? But we should have really had those earlier. If someone didn't mess up a wooden version and make it seem like, you know, in a different kind of universe, I think we would have had loops earlier, but people were too afraid because of what had happened in the past. You know? So but 2010s, man, this is just the data. That's what the data says. Followed, and interestingly, it goes down, right? So like 2010s, 2000s, 1990s, 1980s. It's just that boring.
Yeah, it is. It just, but that's also why I think we said off air. I was like, sometimes facts aren't everything. Like, even though objectively, you know, from the data they are, but if we're talking about, we're not saying what was the decade for the best coasters ever. We're saying like, almost like, I don't know, kind of what I'm taking from it is like, what was the best for the roller coaster.
And this is what I meant off like before we started recording as well, like like sometimes it's about how things affect like, you know, people going to parks and stuff like that. We think about like people's reception to coasters during the 2010s versus people's reception to coasters in like the 1990s and the early 2000s. Like, I think people in the 1990s, in the height of the coaster wars, and then like in the early 2000s as well, were much more okay with seeing cloned layouts, and obviously in the 80s as well, because that's all there was. So like when we saw coasters that, you know, broke height records and broke speed records and like had custom layouts, obviously they weren't that creative compared to now, but like they were custom layouts nonetheless. I would love to be able to go back to that era and really see how like people's responses to like those, because even the likes of like where B&M dominated in the 90s with Kumba being their first looper, and that was that first iteration, the first sit down looper. I mean, that first iteration of like the B&M inversion formula. You know, the loop, the dive loop, the 0G roll, the double inversion, whether it be a cobra roll or a batwing or whatever. Like when each of those installations were established at whatever parks, I would like to know if people were like, well, it's the same as that one over there. Like I could just go ride that one. Or were they like, yo, it looks sick, it's massive, it goes upside down like 8 times.
I bet you they were the same. I think they were the first one. Surely they would have been the first one.
Yeah.
I don't think you can, until you ride it, you wouldn't know that it's technically better, you know?
Yeah.
Because it just looks the same. It's steel that goes round in a loop for whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Unless
but then,
at the time, people probably realized that.
But then, like, you contrast that with like the I suppose the late 2000s and the 2010s. I feel like, I suppose the enthusiast community and, you know, like the general public as well, I feel like we're just much less accepting of coasters doing the same things
Definitely
than we were back then.
It's just, well, there's more. We have the internet, so we see more things that are going on. Like when you know, even in the 90s, like most people are not traveling. Like not many people are, unless you're big enthusiast. Like you're not.
Yeah.
Looking at what else is out there, you just go to your local park and that's it. I just feel like there's more and more people, even like half enthusiasts who maybe not even class themselves as enthusiasts. Like I've got a lot of friends who are like that, who they love coming to new parks, and they're not like,
I have a couple as well.
They're not like, they don't know all the manufacturers. They're just like, oh, there's that like cool spinny ride in like Belgium, like what's that about? And you know, I think like Zardra was on telly like a couple of weeks ago, and I had so many people telling me, oh, have you seen this like the world's tallest wooden coaster? I'm like, it's not
really legit, man.
You don't want to say that. You don't want to say that.
You don't want to sit down and just I'm just going to tell you.
I kind of just agree.
Right,
just
in your brain, you're like, it's not a wooden coaster, is it? And what actually comes out is, it looks sick, innit? It looks great.
Good. Let's go. Like,
let's go. Come with me. But yeah, like I just think there's more information out there now, so yeah, we are less forgiving because we see what else is going on over there, and you know, like even TikTok is just full of like coaster content from people who aren't even into coasters that much, but they're just like, this is cool, like. So I think that's just the general thing now, and also like Universal and Disney is its own kind of. That's like goes beyond roller coaster enthusiasts. That just reaches massive amounts of audience. And now we're getting things like Velocicoaster. It's introducing, the amount of people I've seen who are like just solely into Disney that have like got into roller coasters because they're like, that was great. Like that's what a coaster can be. They're not really had that experience because if they're going to Disney all the time, there's not really much. You're not getting a proper coaster, and like I feel like Rip Ride Rocket is a little bit too much. I still think I know people love Hulk, but I still think that's a bit much for people getting into coasters. Like if that's your first experience of a big coaster, I don't think it's the best introduction. Just because I don't think it's that representative. Like now you've got all the, Icon, for example. I think Icon is the perfect coaster to get people into coasters because it's just fun. It's not offensive to anyone really. It's just, and it's not daunting because it's low to the ground. It's got a couple of inversions and well, one inversion, but I still think it's 2. But
so does Blackpool.
Yeah. Just a tangent real quick. Sean, what do you think of Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket?
I really like it. I don't know if it's because I was expecting the worst when I went on it because I saw how much hate it got. But as soon as I did it, I just really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun because obviously growing up Giant Manor, the only experience I had of that of an X car was G-Force, and that was just not great. It was I could see what I was trying to do. It was at least creative, but it was really the restraints that let that down because it just the type of coaster it was. I think, well, let's be honest, it was that lift.
Yeah,
it got stuck so many times and it crushed people's ribs. So when you're like literally like stuck like that, but I loved it. And then as soon as I said like, why is there so much hate, I started seeing that actually it is kind of a love-hate coaster. Like it's not as hated as I thought. It was just a select few vloggers and stuff that I listened to that didn't like it. So I thought that was like the overwhelming response, but actually there's quite a lot of people out there who like the coaster.
So the reason why I ask is because I want to introduce you guys to somebody in the chat. If you look in the chat, his name is Wallin. Well, his online name is Wallin Ballin. He's someone who's very active in the Drunk Riders. He switches it around on like Twitter and Discord and stuff. He is very active in the Drunk Riders Discord, and then like with questions on their podcast and stuff. He lives and dies by Hollywood Ride Rocket being a top 10 coaster.
I mean,
love it.
It's
he adamantly dies on this hill.
I wouldn't say it's one of my top 10, but I could see why it would be in someone's, because I just think it comes down to the experience of that whole ride. Is that it is a fun ride, like with the music and stuff. I can see why people would put that in there. It's its own, like, it's not to everyone's taste, definitely not. I can see why people hate it, but I can see why people love it as well, and I love it. I absolutely love that thing. And when I did not expect coming out of Universal and that actually being my favorite coaster there. Now obviously it's going to be different now. How much I love Hagrid's. It's a great ride, but it just I like a little bit. Yeah, it didn't really. It was a great experience, especially being like a Harry Potter fan and stuff. Yeah. And it was really fun, but that's where it stopped for me. Really, was because it's like I'll find 13 fun, but I don't think it's not the coaster that I'm looking for. You know, I want to be a coaster. Yeah, it just wasn't. Rip Ride for me was blew my mind how good that was. It was just
I enjoy it. I'm like most times when, you know, a coaster or just anything in general has its people who think it's the best thing ever, and it's people who think it's the worst thing ever. I like most times I sit somewhere in the middle of like it's not terrible, but it's not great. It's not like something like it don't blow my mind either. But I do enjoy it. I don't really. I think like when I last rode it, I didn't have a problem with the restraints or anything. It was a little bit rattly, but like it is fun to ride a coaster like that and be able to listen to a music song, like a song of your choice. Like that's just fun to do.
There's loads of secret. I need to find out the secret tracks for next time I go.
Yeah,
but like it's I think what really made me love Rip Ride was like when it was. I just got some really good night rides on it. It was like Mardi Gras, and they were, and we just watched it. It was the Mardi Gras parade, and I'd had a few cocktails. But then like me and Jay just like it was just like, oh, may as well go to Rip Ride, it's there, and it was just so good. It was so fun, and it was just changing the song every time. And I just think it's a good example of the overall experience of a coaster, not just being like how good the layout is. Like it's trimmed to hell. Like I think that's why people hate it, because it is so proper. Like it is pretty trimmed. But
there's like 17 mid courses.
It's mental, man. But yeah, there we go. So are we in? That was quite a good like little agreement, really, in terms of there isn't a best decade. There's the best 5 years that goes between 2 decades. Okay, maybe we say objectively it probably is 2010s, but I just think
I said it's
we can't go all night. That's what I'm saying.
Do you value the improvements or the inception of the tools that aid the improvements? Like, which do you value more? I think that's what's going to dictate your decision on this debate. And Yeah, like it was yeah, it was a good chat.
I just think personally, like I said before,
and a good acknowledgement
like,
of everything that's led up.
Yeah,
throughout
I
the years.
think
it was just nice to talk about it. To be fair, it was like going in a time machine. It was pretty cool. I enjoyed that.
And this is what we're trying to do, like going forward, is rather than just talking about news, is like just have like a key topic each week that we can like talk about and have a bit of fun with, and yeah, like just do that. So if anyone has any requests, get them in the comments, message us or tweet us on Twitter at the Chain Dogs. Yeah, and just let us know, because I've got a few topics we want to cover, so that'd be really cool. But yeah, like just from my point of view, the way I'm judging it is like, what was the best 4 coasters?
Yeah.
So I'd still say 90s in a way. I know there is a little bit of nostalgia there, but I just think that's just enabled so much to happen.
I think there's definitely a case you can make for the 90s. There's definitely a case for it.
Well, there's a case you can make for every decade, isn't there?
Yeah, literally. Yeah, 1920.
I'm just glad they all exist.
Yeah, cool. Have you got anything you want to plug, Harry? Anything you want to chat about?
Not really. Well, I'll let you know what my next video is if you care for that. It's really thrilling.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
gonna blow your mind, right? It's all about queue lines. How boring is that?
That sounds good to me.
I remember you asking about this in the Discord.
Yeah.
It's a very British topic.
Yeah, I mean, the problem
very
I
good at
find, all my videos are always weird topics. And finding footage for weird topics is difficult. Who films queue lines? Like, you get like queue line POVs, but they don't have people queuing. They're just walking through.
That's
not what I need. I need people in queues queuing. Right.
Stock footage there, Harry. I think.
Well, I've had to go and record a lot of it. So most of the shots are.
This has been in the making for 4 years. Guys.
Yeah, it genuinely has.
It's pretty hard to film. It's probably hard to film people in the queue as well, because you got to point a camera at someone as well.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like sneakily, not awkwardly, or like zooming in from a bit of the queue from far away.
It'd be hard to do that without looking like some sketchy dude in the queue line.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, to be fair, if you've got a camera in a theme park, most people think you're pretty sketchy. It's just
very true.
Ideal,
yeah.
Especially if you're pointing it at yourself as well.
Yeah, that makes it worse.
That's interesting. And you say it might be boring, but it obviously is something people like to look at, because if you look at COTAland, like, oh my god, their recent video about the fast track system, it's nearly at 10 million. Like,
yeah,
and it's
crazy,
like, and that's, people generally are interested in it, and it's not really talked about enough. Like, a lot of people, are you going to dive into like how like fast pass can affect queues and stuff, or
so
how deep are you diving?
It's all about basically queue design and how people interact with queues, and how theme parks manipulate people to basically have better queue experiences.
Yeah.
So this dude from a German university got in contact with me, who like studies this kind of thing, and basically like showed me loads of literature about people and how they interact with queues. And then we started to attribute that to theme parks and get like examples of that. So stuff like having a wait time is beneficial for everyone, because it limits the length of the queue naturally, but then also sets people up to know how long they're going to wait for, which means at the end of the day, they have a better time queuing. All of those kind of things.
Because if you don't know how long you're waiting, it feels
longer. Exactly. Yeah. It feels longer.
And it's like what Disney worked out years ago, which is like hide the queue. Like make the queues like, just, you can't see ahead of yourself. Yeah, you can't see ahead of a lot of Disney queues. You can't see ahead of yourself for like the next few people. Like that's like perfect, because then it does feel like a less wait time, because there's things going on. I always say this about Wicker Man. I feel like Wicker Man is sometimes the longest queue, but feels the shortest, because there's something to look at. You're in the middle of the structure.
Definitely.
Yeah. I agree.
And I
don't mind queuing for Wicker Man.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
either.
I've noticed with Wickerman, because there are a lot of bends, quite high fences blocking off sight lines of the queue. If you're in a cattle pen,
Cattle
going
pens
back,
worst.
it feels like you're in there forever. But Wickerman, I could be in the one spot for the same amount of time. But
I'll tell you what,
like I've waited as long.
I think is the worst queue in the UK by a country mile is Devon Brown. Like, it is the worst queue.
A lot of cattle
I've
pen,
ever been.
Yeah,
It's a lot of cattle pen. It's proper.
It's
You're
got
like
nothing to
proper
see.
squeeze. It's just nothing
Another
going
one.
on.
yeah.
Another
So
one
many Easter
that's
eggs in
really
that queue
bad.
line.
The swarm's extended.
Oh,
Just the swarm in general, because you can't see the extended when you're not in the
go over
queue.
that bridge,
But you go over that bridge and you just see cattle pen, cattle pen, cattle pen, cattle pen.
It's done.
You actually, that's one that you actually
It's
feel
ridiculous.
You actually feel like cattle in that as well.
Yeah,
like,
it's
there's
ridiculous,
people.
that
It's so bad.
I don't think I've ever actually waited in that queue line before.
I've
Especially like
once. It's
last
twice.
year. The
I did it.
podcast
I did it.
No,
once,
wait, no. Yeah,
and
twice. I think
I did it once, and now every time I try and have a look.
Have a look
around
at the
because-
bridge?
Yeah,
because you
If it's open, I
can't
won't ride
see
it.
it unless you're
Yeah,
actually in
I
the
won't
queue.
do it.
Really,
there's nothing that could. I like Swarm, but there's nothing that will make me.
No, I won't be doing that again. No.
Definitely not.
Matt in the chat said Saw's pretty bad as well.
Yes,
Sword queue is horrendous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
In the
it's
sun.
not good.
In the sun,
Yeah.
like you've been in the desert, like
Swarm's the
Yeah.
same. There's not much shade in the swarm queue.
yeah. It's no, that's gonna be a really interesting video. I can't wait to see that. We'll have to have a when that comes out. Well,
Have a queue
So-
line debate.
we'll
the
we'll
best
watch the
queue line?
video, and then between ourselves we can have a little talk about queues, because it's
Yeah,
not really talked
do.
about that much,
Yeah.
is it?
So when's that coming out, Harry?
It should come out Sunday if I manage to
Nice.
get it all sorted. I was playing around earlier, and Premiere Pro would not render my video, which is
Typical.
an absolute night. I know, yeah. It's like you pay all of this money for
Are you
shitty
on?
piece of software.
Are you on 22 now? Have you updated to 22?
Yeah.
That's been. I've had to
It's
roll
been
back to
shit.
21.
Yeah, I know.
I had problems with
Luke, you've had
21
problems
where it
with
would actually randomly stop rendering for no reason, like completely, and I couldn't get past like a minute. So I had to roll it back even further.
Well, the best way to do that is I have to do this quite a lot. Well, I do it for a living, so obviously when I say quite a lot, it's not that much if you're only doing it now and again. But is if you just copy your entire timeline onto a new timeline, it will render it. That's a good trick, but it's just annoying as hell, because then you just I like my projects to be neat, and then suddenly you have to make it unneat, and it's just so annoying. But yeah, there you go. So thanks so much, Harry, for coming on. Really appreciate it. Only actually last week. I expected when I asked you, I was like, I thought it was going to be like, oh, maybe next month or whatever.
Well, I chose this day because it's like the only time. After this, I start to get busy. So good timing.
Good timing.
Appreciate it, Harry. Thank you very much, man.
I'm glad we got to do this, because like we've both said like it was good to see each other at Pleasure Beach opening weekend, but we didn't actually get to speak that much, did we?
No.
There's too many people.
There's too many people there.
I spoke to probably way over 100 people, but it was all really short chats. So it's like you speak a lot, don't you? But then you never really had a proper conversation with anyone, especially in Spoons. It was just crazy. The amount of times I tried to go to the toilet and then I'd get stopped. And then you get into a good conversation and be like, okay, actually, I need to go to the toilet now.
Sean, you're too famous, mate. You're too famous.
Mate, I hate to feel like
that's the price of fame, dude.
It's not. It's Twitter. I speak to so many people on Twitter that it's nice to put it's nice to actually see people in person.
Definitely.
I think half of them don't even know I've got a YouTube channel, to be honest. Just that annoying guy on Twitter. Cool.
You speaking the truth, Sean.
Like I said, just go with the crowd. Just go with the crowd.
Just go with the crowd. Stop having my own opinions, man.
Get in that swarm cattle pen, bro.
Wow.
Anyway, on that note, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us. The longer episode this week. Join us next week at 8 p.m. for the Chain Dogs live here on YouTube. See you later, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Check us out.
Bye.
Bye.
Check it out.